Alright shredders, here are 3 essential skills to ride bike parks. The first one is berms. Anytime you go to a bike park, you are definitely going to be finding some berms. So let's have a little bit of a recap on how you tackle them. As you enter the berm, make sure you've done most of your braking beforehand, as much as you feel you need to do. Make sure you pick a line which sets you up to the outside of the corner so you can enter high into the berm and then drop out in the middle, and that's going to make a really lovely smooth arc for you to really carry that speed, and it just feels much nicer. As you enter the berm, you need to be looking around the corner and spotting your exit so that you end up in the right place on the trail, and that ties in with entering wide and exiting more in the middle. For a full recap on berms, click this link up here. So you're almost certainly going to find some jumps at a good quality bike park. So don't forget that you can take a nice cruisy lap down for your first run just to check out how big everything is, and then on your next run you can start to have a go at the jumps you feel comfortable with. But I'd really strongly recommend that you don't get tempted to just hit the takeoffs fast and hope that you're going to make it. Try and apply some technique here. So let's have a little recap on how to do a jump properly. So here's a jump, and as we approach we need to be ready, no last minute pedaling. If you do anything last minute like that, you're going to upset the balance of your bike, so you'll be nice and ready, looking up at that takeoff, coming in, and just at the very bottom of the takeoff you want to preload through your feet, so you're actually going down into the bike like this. Now as you come up, you stand tall with your legs, and that's going to give you the lift to get you up and over the jump. Once up in the air, just allow the bike to come up underneath you, relax and spot your landing, ride away, and all your friends are going to be super impressed. But if you want a full recap on how to jump, then check out this video just here. Another pretty key skill for riding in a bike park is effective braking. So you're often travelling way faster than on natural trails, so it's really good to get that braking technique dialed in, and then you can go faster but remaining safe. So clearly, to be able to brake effectively, first of all, your brakes need to be in good working order, right? So just make sure they feel nice and firm at the lever. If they don't, perhaps they need bleeding. Check that you've got plenty of pad material left. Change those pads if it's looking a bit low. So now your brakes are tip top, here are a few tips to get you slowing down quickly and in control. So first of all, you want to use those 2 brakes together. If you neglect the front one in particular, people often do, you're reducing your stopping power by over 50%, some say 70%. So you do need to use those 2 brakes evenly and together. Try modulating your brakes. So what that means is actually pulling on the levers firmly but gently, but without actually locking the wheels up. What happens when you skid is that the tyre is no longer digging into the ground and giving you braking traction. Instead, it's just surfing across the surface of the ground, and you're not going to slow down. So it's really important to try and just let those brakes off a teeny tiny amount if you start to get the back wheel locking up. It's usually the back one, just so that you maintain that braking control. Try not to be a Brian brake dragger. What is a Brian brake dragger, I hear you ask? That is a person who drags their brakes all the way down the trail. Now, I realise that sometimes you're riding the sort of trail where you can't really get off the brakes. So what you want to do every so often is just try and let go of those brakes, particularly on like a flatter part of the trail. And it just that momentary release of your brakes gives the brakes the tiniest amount of time just to cool down a little bit. If you're dragging your brakes all the way down the trail, what's going to happen is that the brakes are going to get very hot, and you're probably going to experience what's called brake fade, where they just become completely ineffective and don't work. So that's why you want to try and avoid being a Brian brake dragger. This is actually a prime spot where you might consider just momentarily letting off those brakes. Just a short section, a little more techie. If you let the brakes off, they're just going to get a moment to cool, and at the same time, because your brakes are fully open, your suspension is going to work better as well, which is a nice little Brucey bonus. For a full recap on how to brake effectively and how to brake to go faster, check out this link up here. And the bonus skill, this is a skill, try and keep your head up, try and keep yourself looking where you're going. And the reason I say it's a skill is because you have to constantly remind yourself to do it. Even I have to do it. I've been mountain biking for 28 years, still have to remind myself to look up. But if you're doing that, you can see where the berms are, you can see where the jumps are, you can see where you can get off those brakes or where you can apply them. So there you go, there are my essential skills for bike park riding. Hope you found them useful. Now get out there and practice them, and then when you next hit up the local bike park or head to the Alps, you're going to be ready to enjoy those days in the bike park to the max. If you like this video, don't forget to press like. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. And above all, for more great skills tutorials like this one, hit the subscribe button. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.